So this is 8 Ball Deluxe, and it's mine. First pinball machine I ever bought. It's the only one I've ever owned, and it'll probably be the only one I've owned for at least a while. But since it is mine, I figured, why not give it a little update? We're not gonna do anything obnoxious today, but we're gonna make the machine just a little bit more me. Oh crap, you can tell it's not coffee. So unlike myself, this machine's been around since the 80s, and it still plays mostly great. No! So I guess the next logical step is to obviously make something for it that doesn't actually affect the gameplay at all. I mean, it might make me a better player because caffeine. If you haven't figured it out already, yes, I'm making a cup holder, or I guess more specifically a mug holder, because I love coffee and I'm not a big alcohol drinker, which is kind of ironic considering I sell a bottle opener in my online store, which I happen to make here in-house, and you can go buy one at aspirepinball.com. Anyway, I digress. But as far as cup holders or mug holders or beer bottle holders go on pinball machines, they are really handy. We've all seen them at the arcade or at a bar. They clip onto the leg and they can give you a place to set your drink while you play pinball, so you don't have to worry about setting your drink on a table on the other side of the room while you go ahead and dominate some Martians in Attack from Mars. I've even been out and about and seen 3D printed ones that people are selling to these arcades, or arcade owners are just making themselves, because there are files online to make your own, and they're great. So yeah, I'm remaking something that kind of already exists, but putting a little bit of a personal twist on it, I guess you could say.
Stop setting your drinks on the playfield.
First of all, I want to make it a little bit more coffee mug compatible, which really means I'm going to make the cup holder part a little bit bigger so it fits coffee mugs this size, maybe a little larger, and then have a slot so that the mug handle itself can sit and the cup can sit flat, and also make it easy to grab so I can fuel my pinball rage when I keep hitting the out lanes. Secondly, I want to make it easier to install. I don't want to have to remove the bolt in the legs entirely just to put this thing on. I think if I make a slot, I can then loosen the bolts just enough to slide the part over and then just tighten the bolts back down without having to add some extra support to the machine temporarily to keep it from falling on my head. And finally, the third thing I want is to make it just a little more tall people friendly, because I'm tall. That's it. I just am too lazy to bend down 3 more inches to get my cup of coffee. And yeah, I could go online, download one of those models that I mentioned before and modify it. I think for the sake of exercise, I want to design the whole thing from scratch and see what I can come up with. I gotta exercise my CAD muscles anyway, because right now I'm kind of pretending to know what I'm doing. By the way, if you want to learn how to model like this in more detail, my friend Bob has an amazing course called Fusion for Makers. Now, this isn't sponsored or anything. Bob's just a good friend, and it's a genuinely good resource, especially for beginners. So feel free to use the affiliate link down in the description to check out Fusion for Makers. Well, this is gonna take a while. Let's talk about 8 Ball Deluxe. So yeah, 8 Ball Deluxe. My first pinball machine ever, and I love it. And as I mentioned before, it is older than me, which is crazy, and I'm sorry if I'm making my viewers feel old by saying that. It is one of the best-selling pinball machines ever made, but it doesn't quite get close to Addams Family, and that's for another video. It had 3 production runs. This is the limited edition version, which was the second of the 3 runs, and it looks kind of funny, right? It doesn't look like your average pinball machine. It's got this funny back box. At the time, Bally was also selling a game called Rapid Fire, which took this shape. It was a flipperless game that you held triggers and shot targets, and honestly, you should look it up. It looks really cool, but I can see that the gameplay is not nearly as, engaging as a pinball machine, and it didn't sell great. So they repurposed some of the cabinets for 8 Ball Deluxe and even a couple other games, I think. I think a lot of people out there will agree that 8 Ball Deluxe is one of the most fun to play single ball games ever made. Despite the fact that it does outlane drain a lot and has some sneaky center drain moments too. At least for me, it might be a skill issue, but I definitely outlane drain on this more than a modern game. But that's okay, it's still fun. But as far as my machine specifically goes, it's definitely showing its signs of age. It's got some scuffs. Bumpers aren't necessarily firing all the time, and there's some wiring issues in the back which have been exhibiting themselves during the shoot. Come on, be a good boy for just a little bit more. But overall, it still plays, and I've been slowly fixing it up. I've pretty much fixed it to the point to make it playable, So I need to get back in there and make my not permanent fixes permanent before my not permanent fixes become permanent and make something worse down the road. Does that make sense? Ooh, did you hear that? I think the prints are done. All right, so the first print is off the printer, and let me try to explain actually why I'm designing it this way. This is chunky, first of all, but this is the piece that's gonna attach to the leg. It's got this big long slot, which basically means we can loosen the bolts and slide it on like that and tighten the bolts down. And then on top, it's got these other slots like dovetail shaped. And that's so you can slide whatever attachment, which in this case is gonna be the cup holder part that I have yet to finish printing, into that, and the dovetail holds it in nice and snug and secure. And it's chunky because mugs are heavy and I just wanted to make sure it's gonna be strong. So, however, a good practice for 3D printing is to do some test prints of like small sections of your piece when you have pieces of that print that are gonna fit together like these dovetails. As you can see, the first go was, I think, about 0.1 millimeters of tolerance, and I'm struggling to really fit those together smoothly. So I bumped it up to 0.5 millimeters of tolerance, and honestly, I think that was a little bit too much. So I kind of split the difference at 1.25 for the final piece. But the nice thing is I didn't have to print this 3 times to figure that out and waste a whole bunch of material. Now, that leads me to my next problem. I should have listened to my own advice and taken a similar approach for where the bolts are gonna slide through. Because this right now, as it is too thick. While these bolts are nice and long, trying to slide this on and then bolt it through, there's not enough, the threads aren't catching at all in the back, which is unfortunate and dangerous. So really, it's just way too thick right there. And also, it's kind of bumped out on the leg here where the bolt actually goes. I didn't really account for that either. It causes this not to sit as tight against the leg as I want. So I need to carve out some space on the inside as well as make where the bolt is a bit thinner so we can get this to seat nicely. All right, so let's go back to fusion, I guess.
There's a bit of an indentation where I took it and kind of rubbed it up and down where that nubbin is, where the bolts go. That way I can go in here and get somewhat accurate measurement of how much space I need to give it in order to sit a little more flush.
So is this kind of a silly project? I mean, yeah, it is. But 3D printing truly is a great way to customize lots of things in your life. And in this case, it's just a pinball machine. I even customized the coin slots on this machine with my logo just because it was fun. And it took basically no time. But when it comes to this project, I think this is just the beginning. With this mechanism where you can slide the cup holder in and out and you're left with this dovetail insert, I feel like there's more opportunity for other accessories you could add here. So if you all have any ideas or know of something that you would make to put here, let me know. I'm already brainstorming an idea for some sort of a mount for my iPhone so I can use it to stream and record gameplay. So to me, pinball goes way beyond just being a game. I mean, that is a big part of the fun, but another part of it is the tinkering and the fixing and the customizations. And there's just a massive world of opportunity, especially on older machines like this, for you to make them your own. And that's what Aspire Pinball is all about. So if you're excited about that kind of stuff, go ahead and hit subscribe because we're only getting started here. I am gonna spend a little bit more time refining this design, and then I'm gonna share it online for anybody else to go out and download and modify or make their own accessories for. Speaking of the modeling, I know I kind of glazed over that process in this video. If that's something you wanted me to do more of a deep dive on, please let me know in the comments, because down the road, I'm gonna launch Patreon and have YouTube memberships available. And that's kind of stuff I plan on sharing with my members and my patrons. Silly project, fun project. Speaking of fun, I wonder what would happen if I just replaced everything in the machine with 3D printed parts. That's another video.
Whoa, trick shot.
And for its age, it's still praise? It's very spiritual. Gross.
Oh, extra ball, baby. There it is.